Police protection from the violent homeless for me, but not for thee. That's the message from Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and filling in for Scott this week. Zoe Rachel, welcome, Zoe. It's great to have you here as always. All right, let's get right to the heart of this one. This one's just, these stories annoy the heck out of me. And here is maybe the most flagrant example yet. And this comes straight from the Post Millennial, which is just one of my favorite news sites on the entire internet that I don't currently write for. They say during cuts to the Seattle Police Department's budget last year in response to the Defund the Police movement, Seattle City Council voted to cut the Seattle Police Department's navigation team that had the responsibility of clearing the city's violent homeless encampments and referring campers to social services, get them off the streets and into a program. However, it has been revealed that Seattle police officers who were on the navigation team have been reassigned to provide personal protection for Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan. And this, the Post Millennial notes, is despite a significant increase in violent crime throughout the encampments and a decrease in deployable officers citywide. Zoe, I know we all saw it coming last summer when they said they were going to defund the police, and we all said, oh no, the crime is going to skyrocket. And here we are a year later, and the crime is skyrocketing. Did you ever imagine in a million years that those very same officers would go to provide personal protection for the very mayor who signed those cuts?
Maybe not in a million years. I think it only took a day, for me to figure that one out.
All right, almost did a spit take.
It reminds me of what's her name, man? Cori Bush. Pulling that stunt. She's gonna go out there and sleep in front of a state building. She's gonna pull the homeless thing, and she's got a detail that she's paying to be out there. I'm like, no. If you're going to act like you're going to be one with the people and stuff like that, you need to get your behind out there and sleep and have no security. The homeless folks don't get like paid security to be sleeping out there on the streets and stuff like that. But that's these Democrats, man. They pull these rhetorical stunts, man. And, they expect to be able to get away with it. And this person is no exception. And it makes me wonder, okay, so all of a sudden, you want the police defunded. They be saying that, that's not what we asked for. That's what we want. And I saw, what's her name? Omar. They'll be trying to say that same thing. And they gave all their audience out there, they gave them shirts, and the shirts even say defund the police. No, we're not trying to defund the police. Your shirts say that you guys are trying to defund the police, right? And then, so she's going to have this, this one is going to have this detail of police out there. And I'm like, well, who are you afraid of? I thought these were like homeless people. I thought these were your peeps, and these are the people that you care so much about, but somehow you're afraid of them. I mean, you're not really having that police detail out there to protect you from Trump supporters, are you? I don't think that's who you're afraid of. I don't think that these are the people who are going to be coming to harass you. The very people that you say that you're a champion for, at like the flipping homeless whisperer or something like that, these are the people that all of a sudden you want the protection from the evil cops to come and protect you against these people. So, but that's Democrats all day, man. That's just who they are. That's what they do.
Yeah, time and time again. Bill, again, according to Post Millennial, the Seattle police lost a lot of officers even before the defund cuts kicked in, from retirements and resignations, because these guys could see what was coming. So I've been saying all along that you don't have to defund the police. You just have to demoralize the police to get these same results.
Absolutely.
And according to the Post Millennial, multiple sources within the Seattle Police Department confirmed that officers from the navigation team and North Precinct Patrol are providing 24/7 security outside of Mayor Jenny Durkan's multi-million-dollar home in an upscale Seattle neighborhood. But it occurs to me, Bill, who do you think those cops are really protecting her from? Is it the homeless?
Well, it's not shame. That we can be assured of. Steve, it's obviously, I know we all feel the same way about this. This stuff has been getting so egregious lately that it just really feels like they're just rubbing our noses in it just because they can. Like everything else, like every single other problem we have in this country, and I mean every single one of them, it all comes down to a lack of a free press, of a fair press. at least in competition in terms of the press. You can control the information if you've got people in the news media who are on your side and figure, well, yes, it seems a little bit hypocritical, but I kind of like to be living in my own mansion with my own private security and being able to become a champion of the people as well. So when you have the ability to restrict the news information like that, you can get away with these kind of things. If there was reporting as there was once done back in the olden days when I was a child, when they were, making impressions on clay tablets with papyrus, there would be somebody out there covering the story with spotlights and microphones in their faces, saying, "How dare you? How can you possibly imagine that you could get away with such hypocrisy?" But they get away with it because, as Andrew Klavan said, that press gives them the ring of power. It's the ability to become invisible, and so. We talk about these things, but it's not public knowledge. So I really do think that as I watch this, when I see things like Nancy Pelosi being able to call a hair salon that has been closed because of her orders, and then have this person come in and do her hair without a mask, and when I see Gavin Newsom go to the French Laundry and spend $400 or $500 a plate, sitting shoulder to shoulder with medical professionals indoors with nobody wearing a mask, I become more and more convinced that what we're really seeing is not even a political divide so much as it's the resurgence of this horrible disease, this recessive gene of aristocracy that we had pretty much stamped out of the American gene pool. But it's back, and it's back in force. This is why they go into politics. They go into politics specifically so that they can have things. At least they go into the kind of politics they go into. They love the fact that they are privileged nobility that is given the special carriages, and everybody else has to walk in the mud. It's like that great Monty Python sketch, It's like, oh yeah, how do you know he's the king? Well, he's not got stuff all over him. That's how you know he's the king. He's not covered in filth. And this is the image of themselves that they cherish. They love the fact that they get to make people do things that they don't have to do. It's ego gratifications. Ultimately, it's just pride. Gavin Newsom shut down all of the wineries in California, except for his. Now, how do you get away with these kind of things? Well, with the ring of invisibility. That's how you get away with it. But it's beyond parody now, and the question is going to continue to be, how long are people going to take it? And if you'd asked me this question 550 days ago, I would have said not long. But one of the things I've learned about this country in the last year and a half is that we have talked a pretty good game, but when it comes time to actually do something about it, we seem to be a little deficient. And let me just add one thing, by the way. The real crime here and the real mystery, I know why people lie, and I know why people do these kind of things. I know her motives, and I know what she's trying to get out of it. The thing that's a mystery to me is how her Republican political opponents can be so fundamentally incompetent that they cannot run this thing all the way to the end zone. This is like you receive this kind of punt you're deep in your own end zone. You get this thing and you start your run, and all of the other players fall down. You just run straight ahead for the touchdown. There's no evasion. You don't have to knock yourself out of any time. Just walk. Just walk for 100 yards in that direction. No, can't do it. Don't want to play that game. How do you not defeat somebody like this? Well, you don't defeat somebody like this in Seattle. And until more people who live in Seattle have their homes broken into and their relatives assaulted or murdered, then this kind of thing will continue.
Yeah. How do they lose? Ask Mitt Romney. There's probably a comparison to be made, although I really don't want to struggle too hard to make it, between Joe Biden ordering the flubbed bailout from Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan and losing an entire country, while the Capitol in Washington remains surrounded by National Guard and fences, and Mayor Jenny Durkan and her private security detail around her mansion in Seattle while she leaves her actual constituents without the police coverage that they're paying for. Don't want to belabor that point. But I did live in San Francisco for a couple of years in the mid-'90s, and I learned how to deal with the homeless. First thing I learned was Don't give them cash. Every week I buy a pack or two of just cheap generic cigarettes and I'd hand out one of those. And I figure a cigarette's going to do a lot less harm than anything most of these poor guys were going to do with a buck or two that I might give them. And you'll learn to tell pretty quickly which were going to be the aggressive ones. And you just sort of do that city walk where you walk very purposely without drawing attention to yourself to clear that area very quickly. But San Francisco, as bad as it was in the mid-90s, was heaven compared to today, because back then they were still doing at least some policing of the violent guys that were out there, mostly the drug addicts. And I wanted to say that homelessness isn't really about poverty. I mean, sure, there are people stuck living out of their cars or whatever temporarily between jobs, divorce, whatever the horrible situation is. That kind of thing tends to be temporary. But and we have programs for those. But the hardcore homeless tend to be exactly two types, and that's drug addicts and the mentally ill. And we just refuse to deal intelligently with either one of those things. So what I wanted to say was that this kind of hardcore homelessness is not due to poverty of the wallet, but a poverty of the soul. But then I realized that the person who is actually suffering from a poverty of the soul, someone like Jenny Durkan. And that is your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thanks to Zoe Rachel for filling in for Scott out this week. Scott will be back shortly. Thanks to Bill, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you next time.